great day, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart with Lady Love. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with me, and I am so honored that you did, and so glad to see you. My heartbeat, my heartbeat, my heartbeat. All right. So, I am so glad that you all are here and that you decided to join me this evening. So, we were picking up from last week, and I mentioned that we were going to go a little bit further with that rabbit hole. So, tonight, I'm going to take a moment to go into where that shift began to happen. Of course, we know this is personal, it's real, it's a healing experience, and this is what's going to help us to grow together on purpose. So, I want to start first with a Purple Power pause. I know you see those that I post on Facebook and Instagram, and they're like little affirmations. So today I'm going to give one, and use these even for yourself. So today I give myself permission to honor the truth of my journey, even the parts that I cannot control. You do the same. Give yourself permission to honor the truth of your journey, even the parts that you cannot control. So as I was talking about Britt's passing last week, it was, again, a situation that I didn't express this the last time, but it was an unexpected, expected situation. And what I mean by that is because Brittany had sickle cell disease, and of course that is a disease of the blood, and it has it's a chronic disease, so it can lead to death. So we've always known that ever since she had that diagnosis. But the thing that happened to us as the journey went on is, as I mentioned, we would have a process in place that we followed when she went to the hospital. We had an appointment for that following Monday as well to go to the doctor for her to get care mentally, because she had finally admitted to how she wasn't really mentally coping with her situation with her sickle cell. And so we were very excited, like, okay, baby, we're going to get this. We're going to go. We're going to get the care you need. We're just pumped up about this next appointment. However, we did not get to see that next appointment. And that was the unexpected part, on top of the unexpected call I had as far as hearing about my daughter's death. So with that being said, I want to talk about the fact that in less than 12 hours, I was holding my daughter, and then I had the realization of, I can't hold my daughter anymore. Like, what is going on? Hey, Cena Boo. And it all happened like within 12 hours. So at that moment, when I dropped grandmother off at dialysis, keeping my face straight, trying not to give her any signs, in which I think I did do that pretty well, because she went through dialysis with no problems. And I had just prayed to Jehovah to give me the strength to get her there. She needs her treatment, and I need to keep it together long enough, you know. So once I got home and I pulled in the driveway, and it's just me at that point. I'm just in the driveway, sitting there, and that's when I had the reflection of what has happened. What was the call? What does this mean? Where am I? Am I like in a bad dream? So I would say that that would be the beginning of that rabbit hole. And when grandmother, on the day of Britt's funeral, said to me, I'm not going to be here much longer, I think I kind of still felt that rabbit hole. Now, mind you, I don't know anything about the feelings that I'm feeling because, of course, I have never lost a child before. So this is, the feelings are new. My thinking is new. It's like I'm looking at everything through a new set of eyes, even though I may not be processing it. So I remember her telling me that. And as I mentioned before, we went on to the funeral. The funeral was beautiful. The scenery was beautiful. The family was beautiful. It was just a beautiful day for a celebration of my baby. And even when I think of it, I smile because of how beautiful something so tragic and such of a huge loss could be so beautiful for me to be able to carry it in my heart the way that I do, because it could have been a nightmare, right? It really could have. It could have been a rainy day. Everybody could have been in bad moods or whatever the case may be. However, that was not the case. And I'm very, very happy for that. And it has a special place in my heart. So, as I mentioned, we had her service on a Saturday. And then on Monday, I was at the doctor's office with grandmother, my 90-year-old grandmother, and we're talking about the cancer situation. She had breast cancer, and she's 90 years old, and she's deciding on if she's wanting to have the surgery or not. Now, you know that this was new for her as well. It was new for everybody, the whole family, because we have never had a loss of a child in my family. And my grandmother witnessed the loss of her only great granddaughter. Isn't that something when you think about that? That that you outlived your great granddaughter, and the way that my grandmother was processing that, and knowing that she had been diagnosed with cancer, knowing that she told me she wasn't going to be here much longer, I've always spent a lot of time trying to think of things from other people's perspective compared to my own and what I may be feeling. So I say that to say, though that rabbit hole was there, I still hadn't recognized it. We went on, and let's see, that was in September. Grandmother had her surgery in December. And between September and December, it was still dialysis treatment. It was the pre-operational process. It was a tube being planted. Because I forgot the other care, which, well, that I'll go into with next week. But so in those months, I was still in go mode. As a matter of fact, what I call that is survival mode, because that's exactly what I was doing. Sometimes grief is delayed because survival demands it. Just because we're functioning doesn't mean that we're healing. So I was fully functioning. I had to be there for my grandmother, had to be there for my husband, and he was being there for me, and grandmother's being there for me. We trying to hold each other up through all of these experiences that we are experiencing from my parents, Britt's parents, on her dad and dad's side of the family, her other mother, as I say, that took very good care of her. We were all just in survival mode. And that's why that rabbit hole can be very tricky. So I'm in survival mode, right? And looking back, I didn't even realize that I was in that hole. Because since I was functioning on survival mode to that level, it did not dawn on me that that's what was happening. So though I was managing, I was quietly drowning. Have you ever felt that way? That you may be managing something and you feel like you have it all together, you're being strong and all of that. That can and will be true. However, what does survival mode look like? See, we think about how so many of us say, I'm holding on. I'm keeping it moving. Doesn't that sound like survival? And doesn't that sound like it could be something that we may be running from, that we need to address as well? We'll talk about that. So, but I want you to ask yourself, if you're surviving so hard that you can't even feel it. Okay, so I have on here, I experienced the same when my mom, right, TJ. I did not have the time to grieve. And even though this hurts to say, it's okay, it is okay. Because you're here, you carried on, and you have a special place. But the thing about grieving is there's really no ending. So when we also say not having time to grieve, it's not okay, this has been long enough. Once grief enters in your life through the loss of a loved one, because we do have different kind of grief, but we're talking about the loss of someone that is truly, dearly important to us, that deep, okay? So, because the different kinds of grievances is something I'll get into later. But it's okay, because it's a process that is going to take place. Because the flip side of that is that some people can fall into grieving. Prime example, my grandmother, of the loss of my daughter, because she had the time to grieve to the point of death. And the effect being so powerful for her that she was fine telling me that she wasn't, she sat in this very chair, sitting up here, which I got my stuff over here. This is grandmama's favorite chair that I'm sitting in. But she sat in this chair, looked me in my face, and said, Angela, I'm not going to be here much longer. Has anyone ever told you that before? Or told you something so unexpected and devastating to you that you're feeling like, okay, what did she just say? Because that's where I was. And we're trying to get to a Brittany's funeral, so I can't even process what she has said. You know, I'm just like, okay, I don't know what that was. We're gonna keep going. So with her, with her situation, I'm going to, on the next episode, talk about what grandmother's care was like in her grieving process and the way it affected me, still not totally realizing I'm in that rabbit hole, family, because I'm still in survival mode. I'm having to take care of grandmother 3 days a week, dialysis, the whole cancer situation, in which, like I said, I'm going to go over that on the next one. But who around you that you may know of that may need to hear things about the survival mode that can kick in, and I would almost say will kick in when devastation strikes, simply because we automatically begin to say, I gotta hold it together. I gotta hold it together. You know, for whoever, I experienced the loss of my daughter, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I gotta hold it together for my grandmother. I gotta hold it together for Mike. I gotta hold it together for the family. And they're trying to hold it together for me. So we are all, bam, survival mode. And survival mode is not a pretending mode. Because sometimes people may say, oh, you're trying to pretend everything is okay. It's not about pretending. So if anyone ever tells you that, you let them know there's a difference in pretending and surviving. Pretending, that's when we go to acting, okay? And we pretending to do this, that, and the other. But survival is totally different. And it does have a process. So while I'm in this survival mode, I'm now taking care of grandmother. Mind you, we're still in a financial struggle. Hubby is now working, but working temporary assignments. So he's on the roller coaster of temp to perm. All these positions that he's going to be able to go full time with in X amount of time. And then he's there a week or two, and then it's, we're ending the assignment. And there's no real reason as to why. It was nothing that he was doing, but that's what happens too when you're working a temp company. They get what they need as well, and then they keep it moving. And the way they get you to come every day is to give you that carrot of you're thinking you're working towards a full-time position. Okay? Y'all ain't slick corporate. I see. Hey, mama. So, I won't talk about corporate right now. That's a way on down, but yeah, that part. So next week, I'm going to share more about the journey with grandmother and how much how much suppression that I had of that. Wow, Santa, I didn't know that. So, and you all know Thomasina and Pam, when I tell you, like glue, like glue. I did not even know, though, that your sister had gone in labor in a whole different state the same day their mama passed. I did not even know that. And you were taking care of your 8-year-old. See what I'm saying? And these things need to be shared, which is why I started the whole heart to heart, because so many people are going through these stages of life, which are stages. But if we don't recognize or not, because it's hard to realize it. But you will indeed realize that rabbit hole as I continue on talking about it later. So I am so glad that you all came on and watched. Please share this. Please let people know about the Heart to Heart YouTube channel, because that's where all the episodes are there. So they can see 1 through 6. This is the 6th one. And I'm working on more marketing and getting, more, what I want to say, media exposure and stuff like that. So I am doing all of that. Yes, and we had to drive to Florida. Would not let us tell her on the phone. Oh, wow. So, fam, I hope you're seeing the things that are being put in the chat. Thomasina is really sharing things of her loss when she lost her mom and what her process was. And some of the things that she's sharing on here, I didn't even know those parts. Because it can be those little things, too, that we may even look as, okay, we're doing this part, but it's deepening like a coverage, a protection for us, because we want to be strong for everyone else. We naturally want to do that when you're a loving, caring person. Now, I won't get into all of that just yet, but yes, but share it. This is going to get gooder and gooder. I make up my own words as we go along, and it's going to really, really be good. So, in closing, I want to say that healing doesn't start when life falls apart. Healing doesn't start when life falls apart. It starts when survival mode finally releases the grip, and then you realize how much you have quietly carried. Did you all get that? Healing doesn't start when your life falls apart. It starts when that survival mode lets go. Once that releases, then you realize, that weight and how much you have been quietly carrying. And we're going to pick up there next week, where we're going to talk more about that, and I'll be sharing how my caregiving weight grew even heavier as I walked my grandmother through her final days. Okay? So I thank you again so much for joining. Spread the word. Please come next week. Hey, Melly Mel, glad you came too. And share the uploads, family. And the live thing on here. I'm getting better. Y'all think I'm getting better? I think I'm getting better. And I'm enjoying this very much. And I hope that you are as well. I hope that it's beneficial. I hope that it's helping. And I have so much more to give and to share. So I love you guys. I thank you so much for coming. And I will see you next week on purpose. And enjoy the rest of your day. I love you too, Cena Boo Boo. All right, Pam, I see you. Amen, girlfriend. Let me get my music. I think I closed my app out, y'all. Wait. I told y'all it's a work in progress. But I got some music. I like my music. What is it in? My drive. Oh, I just love this. And I love just being so open. I'm so cool with all of this. And I'm just loving it. Yeah, my heartbeat, y'all. Heartbeat. And y'all know my mix too came from none other than my buddy Warren Lee, DJ Warren Lee. Oh, and next week, hubby and I will be on Trinette Carter Green's show. I'm going to post some stuff on that. But we'll be doing that, I think that's next Saturday. And I know we got our Southside event that you know we got to be in the house. It's like a requirement. So, but we're going to make it all happen. I love you all. Have a great one on purpose.